Okay, hello, I'm Latta, and this is about this wrong movie feeling and to step into the spotlight. As first, a short warning, because I'm not responsible for any hurt feelings. I'm describing here my own struggle being a creative in a linear world. When I've been born, there were just 3.5 billion people on this planet. Yes, I am that old. It was a different time. Maybe from today's perspective, it seemed an easier time. Without real choices, it was a reactive time where left versus right, east versus west was the normal. I grew up after the Russian invasion into Czechoslovakia, and well, out of this situation, my father became a civil rights activist. For these people, the only intellectual escape were other creative people, were actors, artists, poets, and so on. Well, in fact, my family has a long tradition in creativity, but well, this is a complete different story. Back to me. I've learned early not to accept, but to question things. As well, I had to learn when to stay silent. Not being able to travel, not being able to really act openly, hiding myself, leaves or left only fantasy as an open and safe world. For a child to pretend being someone else means to close you up and to start building dynamic realities, not just for yourself, but also around yourself. These realities, these worlds were, well, of course, in my own imagination, very colorful and enabled me to play with scenarios. This famous what if. When my schoolmates, for example, painted a beautiful, well, for children, beautiful spring grass, flower landscape, whatever, mine was already in autumn after harvest. My sisters told me it's quite, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago that they never really liked it to go into the kindergarten and go through all of these pictures that were hanging on the walls, because mine were always extremely different. But it only shows that everything was possible. Always forward, never backward. I've consumed every piece of information and developed my own dynamic realities. At the same time, I've started to see differences. Stories and science fiction from the West was, I would say, disturbing. Frankenstein, War of the Worlds, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It seemed everything so dark. Dominant was always the fight for survival. Hope was the only last glimpse. And humanity was always nearly to lose everything. Destruction was the usual frame, and mostly at a global scale. These fears of uncertainty makes us paranoid. Eastern science fiction was different, mostly positive. Well, it was a bet on the future. Of course, only as long communism was part of this future. Not for me, my family and me, we had to leave and start over from scratch. But with these experiences, with these lessons that I've learned from my dynamic realities and all of this influence, I became curious about the why. Why is there this huge difference? A difference that also sneaks into the real life. Why is school not motivating? Why is the teacher always right? Mostly rejecting to relearn new things and to forget outdated ways. After the school, I came to the university. Don't get me wrong, I loved the university. But also here, no one is really interested to see different perspectives. Even the truth depends on perspectives, how we see and interpret facts. And it continued through my, professional life. I had a successful and cool professional life, of course, but something was always missing. Something did not felt right. So what's wrong with me? Countless times I've been told to focus, to follow orders, don't think, do your job. Once or twice, they've also told me to surrender to the treadmill, becoming a valuable member of the society. This feeling being trapped in the wrong movie, not really being me, just became stronger. So again, what's wrong with me? I started to write, to process, to describe, speak with others, with other misfits, jesters, rebels, or mavericks. Started to ask questions, maybe the right questions. It needed a bit to realize that it's not really me that's wrong or any of the others. Existence means chaos. Nothing really makes sense. So we try to make sense of it and put it into the right order. But we tend to overregulate. When we look, for example, how our learning system works, how we are sorting it, it's comparable. We put it into boxes, into small, digestible pieces. The thing is, we are competing against each other. There it is, against each other. The real problem with our educational system is that it tests memorization skills, not learning or intelligence, that we are not encouraged to think, to imagine, to develop our own ideas. And of course, not to ask. It removes the best in us. A regular, productive life, how it's expected from the society, of course, is linear. Or better, it should be to make it easier being managed. This continues the whole life. Learn, work, die. Linear thinking for linear beings. I have a small surprise. This here is my life. It's my resume. This is my personal misfit. I've always had the issue that I did not want to specialize. I wanted everything, connecting the pieces, to see to the left and to the right, and of course, behind the horizon. A bit ago, 2019, now 2018, I was confronted with this visualization of purpose. And finally, it influenced me so much that I've smashed some color onto my own resume. This is my life, and matched with this spectrum of purpose, you see in what direction I'm heading. Towards green, the reason for my being, my passion. The linear life is oriented on external feedback. It's depending on it, on processes, on measurability and comparability. Our reporting, if it's monthly, quarterly, however, it's just reactive. It reviews the past, the history, instead of predicting and seeking for opportunities. Hierarchies, career steps, preserving what we have. We don't realize that this whole construct only locks us in and limits our magic. As soon as we leave childhood, we have to learn to act step by step. We are transformed into linear beings, optimized and shaped to serve our machinery. One of my previous managers in German, we call them Vorgesetzter. Translated, it means so much like the one who is sitting in front of you, mostly sitting in your own way. He explained me that we all are just small gears, and we have to fit into our roles, never change a running system. And even if tomorrow the CEO would disappear, the machinery would continue, and we will continue doing the same stuff. Some give up, some will break. Honestly, everyone will break. But what if this would not be the end? If we could escape this treadmill as part of a plan to get back our freedom, focusing on what the humans, we are best in: creativity, inspiration, intuition, improvisation. Getting our curiosity back, being able to imagine, to do multiple things, see from above, changing perspectives at will, and play, live, work together while serving different roles, preserving the child in us. If we could abandon competition and pure coordination, skipping the need to know principle, being so present in so many companies, and becoming collaborative beings, becoming self-assured and attentive. So how can we change this mindset from linear to how have I kept my superpower? The one thing that I'm proud of is multi-perspectivity, the view on things, to see them from different angles, of course with different motivations, different questions. This leads me into understanding and using synergetical effects, how nature teaches us, how it's explained by physics, that together we can reach more. It also helps us to think in ecosystems, not the typical one size fits all or the winner takes it all. Our world is too complex, and following these synergetical effects, we have to recognize the value of being part of a bigger puzzle. Everyone plays with his own magic, his own important piece. This requires self-organization, keeping you busy, finding your way, instead waiting for numbing orders, following the chain of command in a 9-to-5 job. Having an open mind and seeing the other's magic, this gives us more than just jealously observing others' success. I call myself not an optimist. Optimism is, as I understand it, passive attitude. Let others do the game. I call myself a positivist. I'm taking action and actively interact and shape. So if we internalize this, if we understand this, and if we allow this kind of way, this kind of thinking, then everyone will see that the usual boxed processes are not really what we want, because it's just pretending. It's an alibi. All of these scanned methodologies are just the waypoints, not the way itself. It's not the solution. It's a helping tool. We have to unleash what we are best in. And believe me, everyone can be creative. Everyone is creative. We have just to find our own interest, our own purpose, our own beauty, the source of our inspiration. Because creativity is the prerequisite for innovation, for disruption. And it's so individual, like the human itself. It makes us the most efficient beings. Some good news: times are changing and awareness is rising. So all the misfits, the jesters, rebels, and mavericks started to search their own place, their purpose, their impact. I can see a future where I want to live in, and it's on me to show the others the right way and to support them. Thank you.